Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and with iOS 26, Apple is making some big changes throughout the operating system, from design to features and more. However, with music and podcasts, there's some specific features I thought I'd share with you, so I thought we'd go over every iOS 26 feature that's new in Apple Music and podcasts. If we go into music, in music you'll see right away that it looks a little bit different. Down at the bottom we have a new liquid glass design, so as I scroll you'll see that it changes, and it sort of has a dynamic mode here at the bottom with the menu bar. So if I slide up and down you'll see it changes, and if I switch to light mode the same thing is true. So depending on what's in the background, if we have white on white, it's hard to see, so it will dynamically change. So you can see through it a little bit and see what it looks like. Of course, they've changed the menu bar here as well, where we now have Home, New, Radio, and Library, and they've moved Search off to the side. If we drag this back and forth, you can see this glass effect that shows up here, and it's a little bit easier to see it in dark mode as well. So if we just slide back and forth, you'll see that's sort of the new redesign that we have overall. So the buttons have changed there, and the control center has changed as well with a liquid glass design. If I turn this down and we play some music, so let's go ahead and play this music here. We'll go into the control center, go to our controls. Again, we have a new design. So that's completely different, and the same thing is true on the lock screen. The lock screen has some really nice album artwork now, so if we clear off what we have here, you'll see that we have a new liquid glass design. If we tap on the album, it can fill the entire screen. If maybe an artist has an animated background, you'll see it animate here, then tap on it again, and it will go back to what it was before, again, where you can see your wallpaper, and there's a lot of translucency. So it's a really nice update as far as the look of it. Now we do have some new features here that go along with this. Now within music, we have a new feature called Auto Mix. Auto Mix is like having your own DJ built in. And what it does is maybe you're playing a song playlist or you've created a radio station. It will seamlessly blend those songs from one to the other, matching the beat and rhythm and everything else like a DJ would. You can turn this on and off by going into your settings, going down to music, and then if you scroll down, just keep scrolling down, and you'll actually see the option for it. And I think I passed it here, but you'll see song transitions where it says auto mix. So we have song transitions, auto mix. You can use crossfade like we had before, or you can turn it off altogether if you don't like it at all. So I like this. I would recommend trying it out, as it's not great if maybe you're listening to an album in order, as it will start to blend some of those songs, and sometimes it just doesn't sound right, and it will end the song a little bit early to get that blend right. So that's something you may want to turn off from time to time, but it is a nice feature to have. And again, you'll see it says song transitions at the perfect moment based on the analysis of the key and tempo of the music. So again, I do like it, but I don't think it's great all the time. Something else that's new, if we go back into our home here, so tap on home, it will bring up your different buttons. Go to library, and you'll see we have some pinned albums or artists at the top. We now have the opportunity to pin albums, artists, or playlists at the top. And so maybe if we go into playlist, I'll just pick one here, my top rated playlist, press and hold, and you'll see we have the option to pin playlist. Now, if we go back to library, it's pinned at the top. So again, press and hold, and you can move these around as well. So if you want to move them around, there's some nice haptic feedback, or of course you can remove them as well. So let's press and hold again. And then if you want to unpin, you can unpin and replace it with something else. So maybe you want to go into an album that you like. So we'll just pick something randomly here. We'll press and hold, and then you can pin the album. If we go in here, press and hold, again, we have options for our songs, and we can pin the song, but we've already reached a maximum, so we would have to delete what we already have there. So again, if we go back to our library, you'll see it at the top. If we remove this, then we could pin a song or something else. So it's really up to you what you want to pin, and there's another option for this in music options as well. Within our settings, you'll see here, if we scroll down, we have the option to download pins. Download pins says music automatically downloads for offline listening when added to your library or purchased in the iTunes store. So if you have something pinned, it will automatically download that music that's there. Back within music, if we go to library, and it does take some time to get used to this new menu, if we go under playlists, we now have the option to create a folder for playlists directly on the phone. Prior to this, we had to use a computer, so we'll create a new folder. We'll just call it My Favorites. We'll do that, create. Now we have our folder, and if we go back, maybe I want to add Let's add my top rated. So we can then add to folder, move to folder. So you'll see here, my favorites, we'll move it to this folder, tap move, and now it's in this folder. So we can add whatever we'd like here. Of course, we can delete it altogether, delete from library, and then sort it as well. So if you want to create a folder directly on your device, maybe recently played, we'll move that here. We'll move it to folder, and we'll move it to my favorites and tap move. So again, now it's in my favorites playlist, and we have both playlists in one folder. So again, something we couldn't do before that we can do on iOS 26. Something else you can do on this version is translate lyrics. So maybe you listen to songs that are in Spanish or another language. There are supported languages as well, but if we go into maybe Latin pop, this music station, let me go ahead and turn it down here. We'll go into Latin pop, it's playing, and if we go to the lyric option here, we now have the option for it to translate. If we tap on this, we can hide translation or show original. So some of these will show the translation, again, show. We'll go down here and you'll see it here. So it's going through Spanish, and then below it, we actually have the English lyrics, since that's what my device is set to. So it shows you all of that information. So that's really nice. And then if we go back out, maybe we'll switch to the next song. It does vary a little bit where we have hide translation and show original. We have the option for pronunciation as well in our music settings. So back within our music settings, you can see here where if we scroll down, we have lyrics, larger text, pronunciation, or lyrics. So depending on which one, it will show pronunciation or lyrics, but you can select that option. It doesn't seem to work on anything yet, but if we go in here, we can hide the translation or show original. So if you want to have translations on different songs, again, it depends on the language as well, but you'll have the option to show that on device, and it will take a second to show up. So again, we'll bring this down, we'll go back in, we'll go to our lyrics here, and let's go ahead and show the translation. So now it's showing. So it's a nice little option if you want to use that for music that you might listen to and you want to know what it's actually saying. Something else we've had every single year is Apple Music Replay. If we scroll down to the bottom, we have Replay and Share, your top music of the month, and then we have Replay, Replay 2025, and all of the other ones as well. The difference between this and the prior version is now it's on device directly. Prior to this, it was more of a website. So if we go in here, we of course can see our top artists. It's done all directly on the device instead of being a remote device, or a remote website rather. So if we scroll down, you can see top albums, different things here, and this could be over the past month, and then of course Replay 2025, again done all directly on the device. Something else that's new has to do with music and workouts on Apple Watch. While it's not necessarily Apple Music, it is the way it's actually handled. So if we go ahead and log in on the Apple Watch, give it a second here, and then maybe start a workout. So again, let's go in, we'll start a workout here. It says opening workout. We'll go for an outdoor walk, and you'll see music is now directly in the bottom left. If we go into this, we can have it pick for us, autoplay media, or you could choose it for yourself. So it's up to you. You can add media, but it just makes it a much faster way to add music if maybe you're going on a walk, working out, or something like that. iOS 26 also brings a couple new changes to the icons and also adds some widgets. So you'll see the podcast icon has been redesigned. You may have already noticed that compared to what we have on iOS 18 here on the left, iOS 26 on the right. And while the overall music icon isn't that much different, we also have this effect as we move the phone around. We have reflections from above it going around the outside of it. We also have a few new widgets. So if we press and hold, go to Edit, and then Add Widgets. And within Music, if we scroll to the right, you'll see Recently Played, Recommendations, and Top Charts. And we now have a new one for pins. So we can pin 4 different things that we've pinned already in the Music app, or we can show all 6 of the pins that we chose. So that's a new option for our widget. And we also have a new live radio widget if you want to use that as well. So some new options to go along with the new music updates. Now with Apple CarPlay, you can see that we have CarPlay here. It doesn't look too much different now, but if we go into music, there's a big change here. So when a song is playing, it looks a little bit different. As you can see here, where we have a liquid glass design, we have some translucency, and of course your options here for creating a station, suggesting less, or cancel. So within this, it looks a little bit different. If we go back, you'll see this is completely different where we have a menu at the top. So we have Home, we have New. We'll give it a second to load. And again, this looks a little bit different. We'll come back to that. We have radio. Again, give it a second to load. And then we have our library. We have all of our pins that I showed you earlier at the top, so you can go into those. And if we scroll down, you can see your playlists, artists, albums, and everything else with recently added and other things here. Again, if we go back home, it's going to have your recently played at the top. And then if we scroll down, your top picks, anything else. And as we continue to scroll, it looks a little bit different. Now, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of this. I do like the larger buttons that we have here, where it makes it a little bit easier to go in and play those. But again, if we scroll down, you'll see all of the things. You can keep scrolling quite a bit. And of course, you can search, and then you have your song again that we were playing before. So it does have a new look to it overall. It is pretty nice, but again, it's something that's a little bit different, and I'm not sure I like this design, but once it's playing a song, it's fine. Now again, Podcasts has a similar redesign, so if we go into Podcasts, we'll have the same thing. So for Home, we have Up Next, Recently Played. If we go into New, that's that new menu option that we have. Again, let it load for a moment. And you have the same things we were seeing before with Featured, Top Shows, we've got New Shows, Top Series, and more. Again, if we go into our library, we can see our shows. Now, the nice thing is all of these buttons are easy to touch as they're fairly large, but you can see this design here looks pretty nice. Of course, I've got the background to sort of match the red of the car inside, but then you go home and you'll see again that translucency with liquid glass. So it's definitely a redesign. And then if we go into maybe play one of these, we'll go into my library. We'll maybe play this one here. So this is what it looks like when you're playing a podcast, and down here we have our speed options. So you can adjust those if you'd like, jump back and forth, and again, go back to whatever you'd like to listen to. So it's definitely got a different look to it, and overall pretty good, but some of it looks a little bit odd and unfinished. But let me know what you think of the overall design in the comments below. Back on the phone, if we go into Podcasts, you'll see that it has a new design. We have the liquid glass redesign, we have liquid glass at the bottom with the menu, and we also have a new menu option that says New. If we go into New, you'll see all of the latest shows, of course, and then as we scroll up and down, you can see the animations and the way it looks with that liquid glass redesign. Again, if we switch to light mode, you'll see the same sort of thing as we did in Apple Music. So depending on what's in the background, it's dynamic and makes it easier to see. So if we go back to New, you'll see it here, go back to Library, and it just has this nice redesign. Some people may not like it right away, but I think once you use it for a little bit, you get used to it. Now we do have some new options that go along with this as well. For example, if we go maybe to the library and then we go to recently updated, I'll just pick this one here, and then we go to the menu in the upper right. We now have some settings, and it's a per show setting option. So you'll see we can sort it, of course, we can hide it, we can download it, and then below it says use default settings or custom settings for this show. Once you select custom, you can then select a playback speed. So maybe someone speaks a little bit slower than you want to listen to. You can increase this a little bit on a per show basis if you'd like to do that. You also have the option to enhance dialogue, which is another setting I'll show you as well, but you can do that again on a per show basis. So maybe they don't mix the audio, the music's too loud. You can turn this up and you'll hear the dialogue better. Again, if we go into a show itself, so we'll go into this one, we'll hit play, and while it's playing, so it changed there, we of course have the playback. We can now drag our finger up and down to change the playback speed, and you'll also feel some nice haptic feedback to go along with this as well. Tap on it, you've got additional options. You can see those different playback speeds where we have faster speeds based on what you'd like to choose. So we now have from 0.5 all the way up to 3. So you can see depending on what the show has, you'll have those options. And then we have enhanced dialogue. So again, maybe the music is too loud. You want to hear the vocals a little bit better. You can then tap on that and it will change. Or you can just reset it to default. So again, go back in and adjust the play speed. And you'll see again, we can drag left and right, faster or slower. So you have different options here. You can drag up and down, drag left and right, up and down. It's a little bit odd to get used to. So you can again, go in, drag up and down like this, go in, drag side to side, and adjust it that way. Very nice feedback as far as haptic feedback goes as well. So if we go out of that, that's everything new with music and podcasts. Not huge updates, but some nice refinements, some redesigns, and some very helpful features. And in particular, I really like auto mix when you're listening to maybe random songs where it sort of blends them together like a DJ would. That's my favorite feature. But let me know what you think of the new redesign with Liquid Glass, with Apple Music, podcasts, CarPlay, and more. Let me know in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.